This is Dr. Matt Barber of Alabama Orthopedic Clinic. We are proud supporters of Ransom Reprogram, Ransom Ministries, and all of the good work that they do in our community. If you would like to learn more about us, check us out at alortho.com or barbertotaljoint.com. You can also hear more from me personally on the Ortho Real podcast. Thank you again for allowing us to be involved with Ransom Ministries and all of the great work that they do.
Hey, welcome to the Ransom Experience. My name is Matt Armbruster, Executive Director of Ransom Ministries. You're going to hear stories from people that we've served and people that serve alongside us, as well as those that we partner with throughout our community. You're going to hear about decisions they made throughout their life and things that happened through different avenues of their life that caused them to go down a path that they didn't see themselves going. And then also those decisions that they have to make on a daily basis to stay away from those decisions that they made in the past. Ransom Ministries empowers people to utilize their God-given gifts and talents in their career and for their community. All along the way, we learn how to help those close to us and also maybe even help ourselves. This is real. This is raw. This is Ransom.
With every star, we are born again. Open your heart, spend less time in your head.
This show is brought to you by Ransom Recycling, your number one choice for electronic recycling in Mobile, Alabama. Help reduce waste in our landfills by recycling all of your unwanted, unused, and non-working electronics. Ransom Recycling is a division of Ransom Ministries that is helping to put men and women back to work. Check out ransomministries.com for a complete list of acceptable items. Drop-offs and pickups can be easily scheduled through the website. Please note that we are not accepting TVs at this time. Ransom Recycling, open 8 to 3 Monday through Friday. Help our planet while helping men and women re-enter the workforce.
With every star, we are born again. Open your heart, spend less time in your head.
Hey, welcome to the Ransom Experience, where we talk to people that have been through our program, volunteers, people that are on our board, different types, just to hear the story. We wanted to share the experience of what it's like to be part of Ransom Ministries, but also we just wanted people to hear the stories of those that we get to be in contact with on a daily basis and how their stories have changed our lives. So today I'm here with Sonya. So when did you go through our program?
I went through the Home of Grace September 16th, graduated in December. I think I started y'all's program the first week of December.
Okay, I knew it was right around the holidays,
Yes,
during
sir.
the holiday time. So I appreciate you being here today. I know you rushed here from work and been working all day. And so tell me a little bit about you, about your life, about where you grew up, your families, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. My parents were divorced when I was 2 years old. They had 3 kids, me and my 2 brothers, and so they divorced when I was 2. Mom was a single mom. She worked 3 jobs. She was rarely home, but she worked a lot. We didn't lack for anything. She took very good care of us. And by the time I was 13, she had met my stepdad, who was the best man I think God ever created. He ended up rescuing us from Montgomery, Alabama, moved us to Mobile, and from then on, my life changed. Just, I guess, the difference of having a father figure in your life,
Yeah.
He was great. He was amazing.
So you were 13, you moved to Mobile.
Yes, sir.
So then what happened? You went to middle school?
Yeah, I went through middle school. My brother went off to college, went off to West Point, and it's the first time I'd ever had to live without my brother. So I rebelled a little bit. Was rebelling before that too. But I got in with not necessarily the wrong crowd. I just got started drinking a little bit, partying through high school, staying in trouble with my mom. We argued daily. It was a struggle, And then right after high school, I got married, had my 2 kids, and then I adopted my oldest daughter. She is 25 now. But anyway, I have three girls.
3 girls.
Yes, sir.
I know about girls. I got a bunch of those too.
I finally got my first grandson this year, or last year. So
good. So you started partying, doing all that kind of stuff. Had 3 kids.
Yeah.
Kind of where did you see your life like really just start going the wrong way?
I gained a bunch of weight from my second child, or actually the first child, and I started trying to take diet pills and Adderall, whatever I could take to try to get the weight off, and it started taking over my whole thinking process. Started lying, started just getting addicted to speed, pretty much, and you know the roles that go with that. Yeah. It's not good.
Yeah.
Ended up costing me my first marriage. He ended up suing me for custody and divorce, and I'd got in trouble with the law then, writing bad checks, doing a bunch of stuff, and got put in jail for 9 months with no bond. So I couldn't get the kids. I ended up signing them over to their dad, and when I got out of jail, I had no husband, no kids, and that's when it started getting real bad. I mean, I hit rock bottom.
So after you got out of jail, figured there was nothing to really live for, and your kids were gone. And so tell me, kind of, as you progressed in that, because there's a lot of people out there listening to us that could be right in the middle of that, where they don't think they have nothing to live for, might as well just, use drugs, whatever they want to do. But kind of where did you realize that, man, I got to get some help?
It was, Home of Grace was my third treatment center. I went through a couple times because my family wanted me to, or, they knew something was off, but I still wasn't really willing to admit that I had a problem. I still was in the lying phase. I'll go do this because they think I need it. But after, like I say, 10 years of it, I OD'd. And I got on meth, and I'd be using real bad. And I OD'd, and I went to the hospital, and they wouldn't let me drive home. So I lied to my family, told them I locked my keys in the car. I needed somebody to come get me. I got one person. They were all like over it already by then, And my brother, I told him what happened. He was in, he's out there in his addiction. So he come pick me up. And after that, I went to my mom and told her I need to get some help. At the time I was married. I done put him through it too, And he'd had enough of me too, but he wanted me to get some help, So they ended up, everybody went together and decided, hey, she needs some help. And I was like, I need to, because I knew if I didn't, I was going to die. And ended up going to the Home of Grace.
And that was the first time?
No, that's the third time.
What was the
first two?
First two, where were they?
Mission of Hope.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was actually, the first time I went through the program at Mission of Hope, I graduated, stayed sober about 2 months, relapsed, and then I went back through again. And then I become house mom for 2 years. But the week after I left there, I had relapsed.
Wow. So that happens a lot. I mean, a lot of people we've had on this program have, multiple, 13, 12, 15, before it really caught, I guess, for lack of a better word. I don't know if it's really caught. So as you got to the Home of Grace, why did you think that'd be different?
Because I knew that if I didn't get help and seriously get off of it, that I was either going to be in prison for the rest of my life or I was going to die. And I had grandchildren coming out, and I knew my kids were like, this is it. It's either choose that or us, and I was going to die.
So you went to the Home of Grace, which is our partner, and we do partner with them. So you go through the first 60 days, and then you get told you're coming to Ransom, which you'd probably heard about from some of the other ladies. So tell me what you thought when you first came to the Ransom class. I
was just kind of skeptical about it. I really didn't know what to think about it from here. And then we started doing all the little classes and things. And the favorite part of Ransom was the mock interviews. It's coming in from an addict, and I just went through all that, the loss of my mom, and I had nervousness about being around people, and but through those, I guess it gets your confidence up and lets you see when you come off the street, you really don't think that you are able to go get jobs, that people look at you different, or they see you as a junkie or an ex-addict, or she's been in jail. But, when you go to these interviews, you feel like somebody. Y'all build us up here to let us know that we are somebody and that we can go out and get a job like anybody else, and that not everybody looks at your past and looks at that. They don't do that. So after them interviews and stuff, I got the confidence up to be able to go actually get the job back where I'm at right now. I got fired 10 years ago, and I never would have had the courage to get up and go ask this man for my job back, but I did.
So a lot of it is just building that confidence up, building up, because a lot of times you've lost that because what you were doing was wrong and you couldn't quit, and you had your family telling you that and all these things. But ultimately, if you're out there listening and you're struggling in addiction or whatever, it's got to be your choice. You got to get to the point where you just had enough. Or even if you use a child that I don't want to do this because I don't want to hurt them no more, or whatever, then it doesn't matter. But ultimately, it comes down to your desire to want to stop what you're doing. And during those classes, the mock interview is cool because I was just talking, but we just had a mock interview today. That's was the day we had. So to build the confidence in order even just to sit across the table from one person. And we talk about that a lot is when you get in front of people, if you can overcome that, it makes it a lot easier in front of one person than it does. So, and not to be ashamed of your story, everybody has a story and your story could change someone's life. That's the reason we have this podcast is because I want these stories to change people's lives. So after you got done with Ransom and then you graduated from the Home of Grace, where did you go from there?
Well, I stayed at the grad dorm for a couple of months because, like I say, my mom had passed away while I was in the program at the Home of Grace, and we had to put her house up for sale. So my safe place, my forever home, was at no more. So I agreed to stay, not agreed, but I asked to stay at the grad dorm because I knew I needed that extra time trying to figure out what I was going to do with myself. And I ended up staying there for 2 or 3 months. And then my daughter, she's the mother of my grandchildren. She asked me about coming to stay with her. And I prayed about it and ended up going home to live with her, and I've been there ever since.
So you're living with your daughter, and is that the one you work with? They work at the same place? Yep. So that's really cool, is that you get to spend time that you've lost with them as well, plus your grandkids and all that. So if you had one thing like out there to say, like someone's out there listening that is struggling where you were, what would you tell them?
Just stay focused on God. I mean, it's hard for somebody that don't really know God to say, hey, God can pull you through that. But I've had so many one-on-one experiences with God to see how real that he is. He's pulled me from things that I should have never made it from. Even in the work with my kids, they should not have anything to do with me right now. They shouldn't. But by God's grace, and he's reestablishing me. I'm standing up. They're finding trust in their mom again. It's the first time in a long time. And even at work, people see me different. They don't see me as the junkie and the girl who's been in and out of jail. They see me as a hard worker who's a good mom and a good grandma. They don't see that bad anymore. So you can overcome that stuff. But you have to stay plugged in. You have to stay in the Word, and you have to cut off those people, places, and things. That is the most important thing to me is the people. You can't do that, and you have to stay plugged in. You have to. That's one of the most important things that I have to do to keep my spirit filled up. Because if you don't, those bad things will creep in on you, and then it'll start dragging you down. But you can't let it in. You have to stay focused, and you have to believe in yourself too. We are not the mistakes that we made. We are who God says we are. And so that's one thing I remind myself every day. I'm not that junkie. I'm not that girl who's in and out of jail anymore. I'm changed. I'm a different person. And it may take me 10 years to completely reestablish myself, but I'm not quitting. I'm fighting every single day to get that, to get rebuilt back up,
That is so good. So you talked about how, the first few that you went to, they didn't really work and then you go here and it's because you made up your mind that you're going to do it. And what I see in you is someone that now understands that we aren't our mistakes. Yeah. It's what we did. It's not who we are. And so you've learned to live with that, and you've learned to walk in a whole different realm, per se. Yeah. And, a lot of people, like you said, somebody that doesn't know the Lord don't understand what it is to give everything over to him. That's the first step, is to give it over and to surrender, right? Is to, surrender my will, surrender what I want, to surrender all those things. So that's the first part. And you don't have to know anything about the Bible. You don't have to know anything. Yeah. You don't have to been to church. You don't have to know you just surrender to that, and then he can work in us. And I've seen a great work in you. And I know that you are a hard worker. And I've seen, I remember the first day of class to even now, or even to the mock interview day or the graduation day, to see the change in your confidence.
Yes, sir.
Because again, it's what we did. It's not who we are.
That's right.
Is there anything else you'd like to say before we sign off?
I would just say a lot of people struggle with loss, and we use that as an excuse. Like I say, I lost my mom when I was in the program at the Home of Grace, but my mom's death actually saved my life. If I'd have been in the street and still using when she passed, I know I wouldn't be sitting here right now. So I know everything in my life has been on God's timing. God protected me when I was at the Home of Grace, because when she passed away, I, for the first time in my life, become the strong person. He gave me strength. He gave me everything that I needed to carry my family through that hard time. And I promised her when she was dying, that I was going to make it. And that's one thing that keeps me sober too. I think about anything wrong, I think about me holding her hand and telling her I'm going to be okay. Wow. And I heard promising her and God and myself that I was going to make it. It was going to be okay. So I mean, you can't use bad things as an excuse. Sometimes you have to use those things to help strengthen you and to help, just to help you through. And we can't ever go back and fix any bad things that we've done, but we can use those bad things and learn from them and move forward and make us better people, Wow,
that is so good too, because, looking at your mother passing and seeing that God was really protecting, because God knew that was going to happen.
He did, and He knew that if I was not in a safe place with a bubble like the Home of Grace, where those women picked me up and carried me through that hard time, they carried me. I would have never made it, but He knew that I needed to be there. And that's the only reason I believe that I'm alive and sitting here right now, because if I'd not been there, I would have overdosed somewhere else. So.
And I'm glad you're here sitting with us.
Me too.
Because a lot of people can learn from that.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be you don't have to be an addict.
Yeah.
You don't have to be struggling. When someone passes away, it can send us down the wrong path, whether that be mentally or wherever it might be. So thank you for your story.
Yes,
thank you for sharing your story.
I'm honored that y'all asked me to come.
Well, I'm just amazed at where you are now, and I can't wait to see where you go later.
Yes, sir.
So we want to thank each of you for joining us, and tune in next week when we bring you another story. We can bring these every week, and we'll have a new one. But share this with those out there struggling, maybe with death in their family, struggling with addiction, or just even self-worth or confidence. So again, it was great having Sonya on. It's great seeing her. It's always rewarding to me to see people that have been through the program that do well. So thanks again for coming.
So thank y'all.
Share this on your social media. You can listen to us anywhere that you have podcasts. Share it with your friends. Also give us a rating and subscribe to our podcast. And we will see you next week.
Too many days in the darkness without a glimpse of the light. Running tired and broken and scared, but I swear I'll never give up the fight. With every star